Hi, this is Jim, the Iowa Tesla Guy. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going on a 500-mile one-day road trip from where I am in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area over to Chicago. It was completely unexpected. You see, last week my daughter in her 2018 Honda Fit, coming back from Iowa City, hit a deer at highway speeds, and here's a picture of what the car looks like. And our insurance company decided to total the car, and this is a car that she really liked and she really wanted to keep, and she loved the color and everything about it. And I went and did some searching and found a replacement car that is supposed to be identical in the Chicago area. So we are traveling to Chicago to buy the car and bring it back. So we're going to be doing about 250 miles there and about 250 miles back. There aren't that many supercharger options in between, so it's going to be interesting. So let me kind of show you the route that we're going to be taking. All right, so here's the route, and we are going to Continental Honda in near the Chicago area, way over here, and we're going to be driving basically cross country. I-80 is down here where all the superchargers are, but we're going cross country all the way to we're going to Bolingbrook, Illinois supercharger. Should get there with about 15%. We did charge to 100%. Got up a little early this morning and kicked it from 90 to 100 and got it up to 100, so it didn't stay there too long. And we are ready to hit the road, and everything should be great. So let's hit the road and see what happens.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
All right, we made it to our first stop, which is in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and we traveled 215 miles, consumed 56 kilowatt hours, and we had a pretty good efficiency at 262. About the first 75 miles were on 2-lane highways, and then the rest of it was on an interstate, so our efficiency went down a little bit after that. So we're gonna get plugged in, and we're gonna get some lunch while we're charging, because we're gonna need pretty much a full charge on the way back, and then we'll get down the road, head over and pick up the car. All right, what's cool about this place is that we have about 15, 16 superchargers. Half of them are 150 kilowatt. This one is 250 kilowatts, so we're gonna get plugged in on the fast one while we scoot over to get some mod pizza for lunch. All right, we're done with lunch, and we're sitting here at looks like 86%. We're gonna unplug. We'll probably have to charge a little bit on the way back, but it really slows down charge when you get above 50%. When we first plugged in at this 250 kilowatt supercharger, we were getting over 220 kilowatts, which is really fast, which right now we are actually dropped to 40 kilowatts, so we're at a slow trickle. And so we're going to get unplugged and head to the dealership, and then probably stop on our way back. So here we go. Well, we just picked up the car. Everything was what we expected based on what we saw on the internet, and we are now driving separately back home, which is going to be about another 4 hours. Was able to get up not quite to where I needed to be at the Bolingbrook Supercharger, so we're heading west a little bit to a town called Aurora, Illinois, and we will be topping off there for whatever I need to get back home. So far, since the last charge, we're doing 281 watt hours per mile, a little bit higher, but we're in town. We're doing a lot of stop and go and some speeding up, slowing down. So it's to be expected. And we'll get to the supercharger in about another 20 minutes, and then we'll get plugged in. All right, we made it to Aurora, I guess home of Wayne's World, and we got here. It's been 50 miles since our last charge. This is kind of the last stop before we have to head cross country to Iowa. So we got to, says we have to charge up here for about another 15 minutes. So 49.5 miles, 13 kilowatt hours, 258 watt hours per mile, which actually is pretty good. So we're gonna get plugged in and get my daughter's car filled up with that prehistoric liquid that runs it. So then we'll get on our way back home. All right, after a brief stop in Aurora, Illinois at the supercharger, we are up to 95%. It says we're gonna get home with 18%, overcharged a little bit, but we were in the store looking for some stuff. But now we're ready to hit the road, and next stop should be home. Couple of observations on the way back. We're about 93 miles from our destination, so a little more than halfway back, and our efficiency back this way has been horrendous. I'm following my daughter. She's a little bit heavy-handed on her foot, or heavy-footed, and we were driving about 8 miles over the speed limit, so about 78 to 70, and I think there was a little bit of a headwind, and I was running efficiencies at our power consumptions at 360 watt hours per mile, which was pretty bad, and it was pretty consistent. But now we've dropped back onto the 2-lane highway, heading cross country back into Iowa, and things are much better. For those of you that don't have a Tesla, maybe you're wondering, like, how does this all work from do I have enough charge? Can I get to my destination? I am 95 miles away from my destination. I have a 50% charge right now, and there are 0 chargers between here and home. And that might give some people some anxiety, and that's okay, but the Tesla puts a number of things in the car to help you out. And one of the things is that it gives you a real-time energy consumption graph, 3 of them in fact. In the US it is 5 miles, 15 miles, and 30 miles, and I'll just show you here real quick what that looks like. Now, another thing that is really nice is if you enter in a destination, there is another tab that is available to you right next to the graphs called Trip. And what it does is that it will show you real time how well you're doing compared to what it thinks you're going to be doing. So in my case, I started, because I stopped at a convenience store a few miles back, and so it's saying that we're about 6 miles into our 96 mile trip here, and 90-ish mile trip. It shows you 2 lines. First line is a gray line. That's the gray line. The gray line is what it has predicted you would do, and it gives you an estimation of where you're going to be, where it ends up. And then the green line, or yellow line if it's at the end of it, is what you're actually doing. And if your actual line is above the gray, that means you're doing better than expected. And if it's below the gray, you're doing worse than expected. And right now, it looks like that I am trending better than expected. I'm trending to get to my destination with 18%. Now, you see a little bit of a yellow at the bottom, and that is an indication that you're getting below 20%. It's kind of like a low fuel gauge on a gas car. really happens at that point. The car doesn't limit anything. It doesn't really start limiting power output until it gets much lower. I think it turns red under 5. I'm not exactly sure on that one. Somewhere between 5 and 10, it turns low. And you can actually see where you're at. And this is a huge comfort for letting you know that you're okay. You're not going to run out of charge. And right now it says that I'm in good shape. I'm tracking to be home with 18% charge, and that is more than plenty. Well, we made it, and without, I guess, some death of hundreds and hundreds of bugs on the front of my car, which is really quite nasty, it was a fairly uneventful trip. Total mileage, not quite 500 as I was expecting. It was 452 miles. We consumed 126 kilowatt hours, and we were able to bring our overall consumption down to 279. Overall, which is on the way back, was quite a bit higher, but overall, pretty good day. Used autopilot as much as possible, full self-driving as much as possible, and what I get with full self-driving now is the navigate on autopilot and the assist with the lane changes, which I think is one of the key features of the full self-driving package that really kind of makes the package worth it. Is it worth $10,000? My answer is no, and I didn't pay that much for it. But I'm really hopeful for what's to come. Long trip, cars replaced, new car looks exactly like the old car. Everybody's happy, and it's just been a long Saturday. Didn't plan for it, but this is where we're at. So that's the end of my video. Hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Subscriptions really help drive the channel, and I thank you in advance. Until next time, safe driving.